Very quick tutorial on how to use Google Calendar if you're a teacher or a tutor and you want to communicate with your students. So this is one way that Google Calendar works, and that's going directly into Google Calendar. So when you log into make sure you're in your work Gmail account, and if you come up to this menu up here, you'll see there's one Google Calendar. Okay, so go into that. It might look like this where they have it set to each week. I usually set it to this month. I just find it easier. It sort of spreads every day across, and I find it easier to see what I'm doing. So click on that. So the first thing that you want to do, you'll see along here I have my calendars. So I've got a CDCFE General. This is my fake class for tutorials, which if you've looked at my Google Classroom tutorials, that's the calendar for that. And here I've got all my different classes for my first year, second year, third year. So first thing I'm going to do is show you how to set up a new calendar. So you would want to have one you could have one for every module, or maybe one for every year that you teach. So let's set one up. If I click here on this little arrow and create new calendar. So let's say GD 01 2017 2018. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to do one for each year, and I can put a description in there if I want to. I can put a location in, leave it as the time zone as Ireland. So we do want to share this calendar with others, and I can click that on if I want to, or click it off. This is if you want to share it with, say, everyone in Coláiste, but what I want to do is share it with specific students. So I guess it's important at this stage you would have to have all of the CDCFE email accounts of the students in first year. So I would do this in the very first week, maybe at my first or second induction with the students, after I've got them all to go into their college Gmail accounts. And then I would start to put in here, so let's say let's say I'm going to put Jean in. Jean. Okay. So I would see if Jean was a student in the class, her email would start to pop up. And then I can add her. Okay, now I'm just going to delete. And what you want is see all event details. You don't want them to be able to make changes. You would only have this on if you were sharing it, say, with another member of staff. If there are 2 or 3 staff members and you wanted everybody to be able to edit the calendar. But more than likely you will just want the students to be able to see the event details. And then you would go create calendar. Okay, now before I do that, I'm going to delete Jean out of there. But essentially underneath your own name, you would list all of your students that's in your first year group that you're sharing this calendar with. So we'll create calendar. Okay. Then what you would do is, so I'm going to just work off of this view that I have here. So let's say, for example, on the 27th, Wednesday the 27th of September, I wanted to notify the students about something. So I'll click in here and I will say trip to Botanic Gardens. It's on Wednesday the 27th of September. And here, this calendar, if I click in here, which calendar do I want this to be part of? So you can see these were all my ones from last year, and actually I divided them up by module. So it's up to you, whatever you find easiest, but let's just add it to this new one that I created, just this fake one, and I'll go create. Okay, so you'll see there, trip to Botanic Gardens. Because you have shared this calendar with all the students, they would automatically see that. Now, there's not a hell of a lot of information here. We don't know what time it's at. Do the students have to bring something with them? So I'm going to just click back in here and I'm going to go edit event. And you'll see a lot more information pops up. So for example, is this all day? Or is it at a particular time? Okay, so let's click into, see here, find a time. When do we want the students to go? Say from 10 to 1. Okay. So you can see up there 10 to 1 o'clock. Enter location. Now what's good about this is, as I start to type this in, Botanic Gardens, National Botanic Gardens Ireland, Google will start to look for it. I can put in here, please bring with you a camera and notebook, camera and drawing tools. I can add an attachment to this if I wanted to, if there was something specific. Again, it'll go into my drive, it'll find something, let's just find something. Anything. If I wanted them to read this document, let's say, or read it or do something with it, a form that they say, a trip questionnaire or something like that. So I can make it all different colours if I want to. At the moment it's like a lime green. Add a notification. Now this is really quite useful. So if I click on that, so I can add a notification 10 minutes before. So at 10 to 10 on the 27th, they'll get a notification. If I wanted, say, the day before, one day before, so on the 26th at 10 a.m, they'll get a notification to say, tomorrow in 24 hours you need to be at the Botanic Gardens. I can have a notification. What that will do is it will pop up on their mobile phone. If they have, obviously they have to have Google Calendar on their mobile phone, which you should encourage them all to do. If you want to send an email, which is another, I usually actually go for email because not all of them, if someone say has an iPhone, they won't have Google Calendar on their iPhone. So I usually do an email, and I usually do it one day beforehand. If I wanted to do two of them, let's say I wanted to email 1 week beforehand and 1 day beforehand, just to remind them, you can do that. So that's pretty much it, and then we'll go save. So there it is, trip to Botanic Gardens. They will get an email on the 26th, and they'll also get an email on the 20th. Anybody that has subscribed to this calendar. So what it's great for is you can set up, if you know you're going on trips between now and Christmas, you can, set them all up and set up all your notifications for months in advance. If, for example, you decided, oh, the trip isn't on the 27th, it's on the 28th, I can drag it in there and change it. And if I go edit event, it changes it automatically. Now, it won't change the time. You'd have to go in and change that. But it will change the date automatically. It will still email them 1 day or 1 week beforehand. So that's just a really, really handy way of communicating with students.